episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous Podcast. My name is DK Diamantes, his name is Bricky, and you know why you're here. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode and you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in crispy digital HD format. It's great. You can get the copyright free or adjacent Yvrain that's not Yvrain, but it's a maid. You should get it. It's great. I don't know exactly how to say that.
A maid? It's a diner waitress.
Huh. Yeah, I guess she is. You know, hey, Shy, can we make a, legally distinct Yvrain cat girl maid for the next poster by any chance?
None of these words are in the Bible.
I don't know. Have you looked?
Check out our merch at orchid8.com. Link in the description. Make sure to pick up any of the final bits of the Sunset and the Shame sale. You have only June, and then it's all gone. And then the goal is that we get rid of a lot of the old stuff, and maybe we do some cool refresh, and life is life. Good stuff.
Life is life. I like it.
And if you're a fan of Warhammer Fantasy, also please support us on Patreon because we're making a new logo, background, and music for the new show. Please support. Yay!
Ooh, let's go.
Gaming. So, today's episode.
Oh. Why do you got to put emphasis on the P like that?
Episode?
Like,
and today's episode...
Bladder control problems in the 40th millennium?
Man, I piss so much on stream. I'm always leaving to pee. I don't know why.
That's such a weird segue.
You'd start talking about pee.
It's just so weird that it went episode. It's like, bladder control problems in the 40th millennium? I pee so much on stream! And it's just kind of... We have gone off the rails real quick here today.
All right. Well, it's a little hard to go back on the rails when there's no rails in fact there, because today we're talking about something a little less tangible, a little more speculative, a little more. You should do something with this Games Workshop. It's a great spot. We should have more stuff involving this. It's also a very highly requested topic. That said, it's not. It doesn't have a lot on it, but it is highly requested.
Okay.
We're talking about something known as the Ghoul Stars.
The Ghoul Stars.
I
have heard of this. Well, I've heard the name. And obviously, when I hear Ghoul Stars, I immediately think of, maybe this should have been a Halloween episode, because, ghouls and, spooky, scary, and, stuff like that. So, anxious to hear about these Ghoul Stars, or this Ghoul Star place, I guess? Is it a star that is... Anyway, why don't you tell me what it is, Bricky?
Well, I would if you stopped speaking.
Well, excuse me for speaking on a podcast.
Well, excuse me
sorry, sir.
for having massive. Oh crap! How's Homer Simpson say it? Excuse me for having massive character flaws that I don't work on. Anyway, that's the map Shai has posted. You will notice that the red are the breaks in reality due to the warp rift. As you can see, the Eye of Terror is in the top left, and then it blew up and then smacked the galaxy in half because that's what happened after the fall of Acadia.
Yep, Cicatrix Maledictum, right?
Yep, all the issues happen in there. You have this is actually a great map, Shai. Everything on the left, you have the Imperium Sanctus, which is, as you can see, there's Terra and Mars and all the good stuff. And then you've got the spot that is all cut off from the light of the Astronomicon for the most part, and things are going really, really bad, which is the Imperium Nihilus. You will notice on the top left, you'll have things like the Halo stars. And I feel like this map should be shown to every 40k player so they can just understand a bit more of the geographics. But if you look on the top right, you will see way in the back the Ghoul Stars. But yes, top right, you'll see the Ghoul Stars. And the Ghoul Stars are a area of space that's just, I don't know, a bit shit.
As opposed to all the other dark spots on the map. This one is particularly bad, I assume. It's real, yeesh.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, Shai's got yeah, you can read this if you'd like.
Ghoul Stars is Warhammer's Bermuda... The Bermuda Triangle doesn't exist! It's a hoax! Sorry. Ghoul Stars is Warhammer's Bermuda Triangle. It's a place on the very edges of the galaxy where whole worlds go missing on a regular, unknown Xenos wage war so horrible they are secret even from the Inquisition, and the only Space Marine chapter to keep it in check has seen so much horror and destruction, their entire identity is associated with death. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, Bermuda Triangle basically is the best way to describe it. It's a place where things constantly go missing. But though, I guess unlike our version of the Bermuda Triangle, there's actually real reasons to not go there as opposed to just like speculation.
Yeah. Well, this is also 40K, so with warp chicanery and everything, it is entirely possible that you will just get sucked into the warp and demons will eat you and you'll just get spit out on the other side of the galaxy. So
I mean, the warp rift right up there by the Ghoul Stars is called the Demon's Maw, which is, pretty similar. But also, another very important thing to understand with the Ghoul Stars is that it is just about outside of the Emperor's Light. So like if you look at bottom left-hand corner, you can see Terra and Mars. The Ghoul Stars are basically the farthest away spot on the map. And that's where like the light of the Astronomicon to help you navigate is, not only is it the Imperial Nihilist been cut off, but like it's faint. It's so hard to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you really, even if you get out there, you're kind of stranded, and there's not you probably don't want to go out there.
I mean, we're operating on knowledge from pre-Fall Acadia, so this was really hard to see before the Cicatrix Maledictum, and so now it's basically impossible.
Impossible, yeah. What reason would you have to go to the Ghoul Stars other than, well, let's just see? Or maybe they think Abaddon is stationed there or something. Why even risk it?
Okay, so Shai says, it was so shit there before the Fall of Acadia, I don't think it could possibly get worse. I've heard that term before. and I know normally what follows after that statement is normally things getting worse. But I mean,
normally,
if anything, if the Light of the Astronomicon was hard to see over there in the Ghoul Stars, it's basically impossible now because of the giant warp rift. At least that's how I would assume.
Yeah.
So, regardless, though, good old Ghoul Stars. Basically, what goes on over there is very whispered about in a sense. Often it's referred to just massive kinds of warp anomalies, crazy, weird alien species that fight over there. It's kind of just the no-go zone. And so there have been, despite it being a no-no zone, kind of a couple stories that go along with it and talk a little bit about the Ghoul Stars. One of them, and arguably the one that has the most discussion about it, was an old crusade that happened way back when. This was, I think it was actually just called the Ghoul Stars Crusade. I think it was literally just called that. And I got to test your 40K knowledge a little bit. Who is the Space Marine chapter that is the most likely to go on a crusade?
Crusade. I'd probably say the Grey Knights.
Damn, we're not doing it, Shai. We're not doing it. He's not. He's not holding it. It's the Black Templars.
Black Templar. Oh, no, I was about to say it. You heard me. I was about to say it.
You don't get to have points. You were wrong.
Yeah, but then I was going to change it to Black Templar. I was saying it right as you were. I just forgot about that.
Shai, slap him. All right.
Damn it.
So, the Ghoul Stars Crusade was the first ever crusade ran by High Marshal Helbrecht. In his new rank, basically. And the whole idea was to go out there and chart out the Ghoul Stars and finally vanquish a particular alien race over there that was known as the Scyther Fiends.
Ooh, Pokemon?
Not quite. It's those weird dudes right there.
I mean, it looks kind of like a human scyther, but not green and not Okay, no, there's nothing.
Isn't Scyther a snake?
No, Scyther is like I want to say like a buff praying mantis almost. It's like green and has the scythe arms. Don't worry about it.
I never Pokemon'd, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I would not expect you to know, so it is nothing I'm going to hold against you.
So they're a weird Xenos race that like just inhabited the Ghoul Stars for the most part. I don't really need to describe their physical appearance too much. They're spindly. They got a lot of like, weird faces. They're all elongated, kind of inhuman, but they're still like bipeds.
Yeah.
They got reverse jointed legs. Yeah, actually.
They look pretty cool, actually. In that picture Shai posted, they look pretty cool.
They look neat.
They look like they'd fit in real well in like a horror game, like a horror first-person shooter.
They kind of remind me of like a necromorph in a way, but like an alien version. I imagine like necromorphs in Dead Space. They have like the big mouth, the long limbs. It's just like a more normal version of it. Anyway, I mean, not a whole lot is there about the Scyther fiends. The coolest thing about them were the little Shai beat me to the discs. There's the little discs that they had, which would like shatter and reform into crystals, and then slash throats of the victims and then kind of reform. So they had these like really neat crystalline like weaponry. I always kind of imagine them a little similar to what's the name of Michael Rooker's character in Guardians of the Galaxy with the
Yondu?
Yeah, with like the arrow. I imagine the crystals
arrow.
Yeah, I imagine they break apart and they kind of like go out, they go and they reform.
Oh yeah, and they have like a trail of light behind them or something. Oh, that'd be great. Love that imagery.
I know that they take place in the book, The Eternal Crusader. I believe it's a small little novella. And or maybe it's in the Helbrecht book, but there's some short stories chatting about them for the most part.
Sure, yeah.
The Scyther fiends lived in the Ghoul Stars and often were on this planet known as 9836-18 Grave Core. Kind of centered, centered by like a gas giant, basically.
Okay.
It's actually kind of funny because out of all of the Space Marine chapter, well, there are some other ones that are a lot less happy to do what they do, but the Black Templars are arguably the most how do I say it? I was gonna say petulant, and that is true.
I thought you were gonna say genocidal, but all right.
Also true.
I was gonna say genocidal works, right? Like for them,
quick to anger. It's hard to describe, but long story short, when the Black Templars went out and murdered as many of these Scyther fiends as they possibly could, they actually got some help from another chapter known as the Death Spectres. We'll talk about the Death Spectres in a moment. But they're like, hey,
doing?
Go invade this planet, this gas giant, this grave core planets. That's where all of these darn Scyther fiends are at. Black Templars arrived and found it empty, which made them really mad because there wasn't any aliens to kill.
Oh no, there's no Xenos to kill. My day is ruined.
My day is absolutely ruined because they had already fled the planet. So out of just pure anger, they attempt to blow the planet up via Exterminatus, and it just doesn't work. And,
wow.
and like the gas giant just refuses to die. And then even more angry at this, they decide to firebomb the atmosphere instead with their armada, which took a really long time. And then it didn't work either, as the planet's surface just changed back to its normal color. And then they took their toys and went home.
Wow, that's so petty. On every level, like, oh, boo, there's nothing to kill here. Well, let's just destroy the planet. Boo, we can't destroy it. Let's firebomb the atmosphere. Oh, fine, I guess we'll go home. Like, God, that's so petty.
I mean, these are the Imperials for one, it's Templars for two. But it genuinely, like, in a movie when someone gets really mad, they punch something and it hurts their hand. So then they punch something else and it like that they miss and they fall over and then they just like get really embarrassed and walk away.
I usually stop after I punch something and I'm like, ow! I usually stop after that. It's like, all right, let's cut our losses here and just go home.
Ooh, life in the world is decently dense and it hurts the hand. Punching is not an easy thing to do.
Also, how did Exterminatus fail? Like, how did they try to Exterminatus this thing? Or does it not really say? Is it just like a passing line?
I'm sure it's in the novella. I haven't read The Eternal Crusader, but For the most part, the Scyther fiends are just a really wacky Xenos. And basically, after they left this planet and like the Baal before they came to destroy it, once the Templars left, the Scyther fiends just kind of came back. And they're just like, well, all right, we're chilling.
Okay. So Scyther fiends are smart, or they just have really good instinct?
Three things: smart, instinct, and technology. They're weird and encrypted and just generally strange. The High Marshal was pulled back to go fight the War of Armageddon, I believe, because Gaskell Thraka had come back. Yeah, and it was like, crap, the orcs are back, so he got pulled away.
Big deal. Yep.
But there's not much on the Scyther fiends besides their little picture, and they're a weird Xenos. That rogue traitor, the guy that we know with the cool monocle, he found one of them in the Blackstone Fortress and all that kind of stuff. Okay. They're usually able to evade their extermination, often because of their fancy tech. But, as Shai posted, the Death Spectres chapter mainly just kind of try to quarantine them in their worlds. Like, we can't kill them all, but we'll get close, you know?
We can at least contain them so they don't go causing any trouble for us. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really weird because their planets are creepy. They're just, they call them nightmare oceans and monolithic, like, glass-style alien spires. Like, imagine, the wave in Interstellar.
I never saw Interstellar, actually.
Really?
Yeah, never saw it.
I mean, it's a good film. I would recommend.
That's he time travels, right? And then he's like, that's where that meme where he's like banging on the wall as he's watching himself make a mistake comes from. That's all I know about Interstellar is that meme pic everybody keeps making.
You don't know about the wave?
I don't know about the wave.
It's like the most intense scene in the whole goddamn movie. All right, it's fine.
It's got Owen something in it, right?
Okay, no,
wow.
Matthew McConaughey.
Wow.
But also, no, it doesn't have Owen Wilson in it. It's Matthew McConaughey.
They're like the same person. Who cares?
No, one of them is all right, and the other one is wow.
Oh.
Not even
They do both have their own little sayings.
Holy! All right, it's fine. Whatever. We're moving on. Basically, it's a creepy, like tons of like giant, terrifying oceans and crystal spires. But for the most part, the Death Spectres keep it quarantined because the Death Spectres chapter are an old Raven Guard successor.
Ooh, okay.
Now their main founder, and thank you, Shai, for some of the extra little bits on this one, is from their symbol is really cool too. It's like a skull and two scythes.
Oh wow, they're so hot topic it hurts. Let's go.
They are oh dude, just you wait till you hear the lore. So their founder is a guy named Carcatus. He brought them to a planet called Occludus. Occludus is a fortress? No, Sentinel world. Is a Sentinel world outside the Ghoul Stars. So imagine it kind of like Cadia, where Cadia stopped a bunch of crap from coming out of the Eye of Terror. Occludus keeps a bunch of crap from coming out of the Ghoul Stars.
Okay. Shai said, no, Bricky, it's a cemetery world because death.
Oh, Pishnaw. Wait a minute. Am I thinking of Orisk? Is Orisk the one? Oh, Orisk is the Sentinel world. Oh, crap. Orisk is the Sentinel world. Occludus. 40K. Home to the Death Spectres. Fortress Monastery.
Occludus nuts, dude.
They do call it a cemetery world.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. They're
ultra hot topic.
Oh, my God.
Let's go. Do they wear band t-shirts, too?
Well, okay. So their war cry is "Fear not death. We embody it in His name." Battle Brothers and the Battle Brothers will respond, "We fear not death, for we are death incarnate," because they are the death spec. No, it gets so much worse. So, basically, they were the main founder received a vision from the Emperor, which directed him to a secret cave underneath the world containing an artifact, a Xenos artifact called the Shyraics. Basically, every successive chapter master of the Death Spectres takes their place on the Shyraics, the throne of glass, and will not step down until they are dead.
Oh, all right. Sounds normal.
The Shariax gives power to the Death Spectres, and that's vital to maintain their watch over the Ghoul Stars as the cost of draining the Chapter Master's life. But particularly, the Death Spectres, during your initiation, you are required to minimum die twice.
What?
You have to, as an aspirant, you are required to be injected with lethal toxins and then revived. You must slip away into actual death and then be revived.
Oh, that is quite the it's quite the hazing ritual. It's quite the initiation. To get in, you gotta die. Lethal injection, you die, and then, God, I sure hope we revive you and nothing goes wrong. Guess you weren't a good aspirant because you're dead. That seems a little extreme, but okay.
Oh, dude, the line after this is even funnier. Further deaths may be required if you want to rise in the ranks.
Oh, of course.
Love that.
So to rise in the ranks, you gotta die a bunch of times.
You gotta die more if you want to be stronger.
How do they revive you exactly? Like what do they like? Huh?
The 40K version of paddles.
Okay, so you die and then they just poof you. It's not like an antidote. They just. Okay,
I'm sure. I'm sure there's a thing. It doesn't matter.
It should, but it's 40K. It doesn't matter. You're right.
The logistics don't matter.
I guess. All right, cool. Let's go.
So, oh yes, that's right. Here, you can read that.
During these death rituals, aspirants, even non-psyker ones, experience being dragged into the Black River and assailed by its currents and must resist it or drown and face oblivion. Oh boy, these guys. Oh boy. All right. Okay. All right.
Listen, it is a time. Death Spectres are officially charged, right here, is with protecting the Imperium from the hordes of the Ghoul Stars, but it does not extend to the local humans, whom the chapter mostly regards as breeding material to produce more aspirants.
Oh no.
They are perfectly willing to let the human worlds die, as saving them is not really a huge benefit to the Imperium, but you will make sure to take the citizens regardless because they need to refill their ranks.
Oh boy. Yeah. 40 whenever 40K and the word breeding is involved, there's a good chance it doesn't end well for anybody.
The phrase breeding has just been ruined by the internet in general. I remember when I played Danganronpa 2 and like one of the guys was like the ultimate breeder, and it's just because he has like a bunch of hamsters.
Oh, yep. That's the ninja looking guy, yeah.
Gundam Tanaka, my beloved.
Gundam Tanaka! I am shocked that you've played Danganronpa.
I got paid.
Ah, gotcha. Fair enough. All right,
Anywho.
Makes sense. All right, moving along.
Anywho, Ghoul Stars. So there were a couple other interesting things that happened to the Ghoul Stars. There was something called the Pale Wasting, which is a really weird conflict that had a large amount of chapters, particularly the Nova Marines, which are a version of the Ultramarines. They, out of the 12 chapters, 11 of them all died or disappear without a trace.
Oh, great story. Love to hear that.
Love that
for my boys.
No, I mean, unironically, though, the Nova Marines are a group that's weird in the sense that they don't worship the Emperor as a god, but they basically worship the Codex Astartes as a Bible, and often will go to war against other chapters that stray too far from the Codex Astartes. They're like the worst version of that dickhead from Space Marine 1.
Okay, gotcha.
Nova Marines are a success of the Ultramarines, right? Not Ghoul Stars bound, but they are one of the 12 chapters that participated in the Pale Wasting and survived. At first, they seem to be your average blueberries from the second founding. However, they're a bit weird. I mentioned this before. Codex Astartes, huge fan of this kind of thing.
Yep.
They really do enjoy fighting Xenos, where it turns them into like ravaging monsters. And like all of that funny like Roman nobility just goes out the window. Like they see like an Eldar or a human with ears slightly too long, and they just start like losing their shit.
Oh,
like
I kind of like that. I kind of like, because again, one of the things I hate about the Ultramarines is they're just so milquetoast, right? They're just so like, is there anything wrong with them? No. Is there anything really great about them? Not really. But like, Stuff like this where it's like, oh yeah, we're so perfect, we worship the Codex Astartes, and it's like, Xenos! And they just go into like a rampage that they can't even control. That's like an interesting little like quirk. That's like an interesting little flaw that they've got. Like, I want more of that for Ultramarines. I want interesting little quirks.
That is a thing that kind of is humorous, because you think about the general logistics of the Imperium. Like, well, you're fighting off these crazy chaos enemies. Why don't you just ally yourself with the Eldar? And sometimes they do. These guys don't.
No.
These guys are like, I'm going to kill all the Eldar first, and then I'll deal with the chaos.
Yeah. So the Nova Marines are probably none too happy with Guilliman's new wife, right?
I don't think they know.
It was supposed to be a joke that just made you mad.
I know. Well, you tried.
I was hoping for a reaction so badly. Maybe I should have said maybe they're not happy with Guilliman's new pregnant Eldar wife. Maybe that would have done it, but I don't know.
-2.
Yeah, it's a -2. I'll take that. I'll hold the L. It's fine.
And you can hold the -2 as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, moving along.
So there was the Pale Wasting campaign, which is kind of part of that whole weirdness of the Ghoul Stars, where like 12 chapters go in, one comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like,
sheesh.
And they talk about all of the weird and strange threats that were in the Pale Waste. It's kind of, I would argue the Pale Wasting is the main thing that gives the Ghoul Stars its concept. It kind of gives it its feel.
Yeah, that is a lot of dead Space Marines, though. Like, that is... Shai said that is 11,000 Space Marines that died. That is a ton. Well, I guess, of course it is, because 11 chapters died. You're 1,000 deep each. Anyway. No, that is a crazy amount.
Well, yeah, it's 11 chapters, but...
Yeah, obviously.
It's mainly more about the weirdness of it all. Like, here's a fun thing that Shai wrote here. Inquisitorial investigation has discovered that much of the extant evidence relating to this threat has been censored or purposely destroyed, which is inquisitorial. But there are contradictory indications which describe the nature of the threat as both a star-spawned plague that swept away scores of worlds and as nightmare engines slaughtering whole sectors. They would kind of go through the Ghoul Stars, and they'd find, like, human worlds, and they're just dead. There's just nothing on them.
Oh, fun.
Completely dead. And, like, if I'm not mistaken, it's a lot. It's like a lot of dead human worlds. Because I'm assuming these were probably from way back when as well, because, you know, when you had all humanity blowing across the galaxy and colonizing and stuff. A lot of the general inquisitorial concepts and dialogue is contradictory. It's like it's censorship and
purposely vague.
And when 11 of the 12 chapters die, you don't really quite know why, because they also didn't recover their like bodies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nova Marines are the only surviving members that have no records. They have no records on it.
They have no records, and they're not talking about like what happened or like what they saw or anything. And Shai said they take no honors for it,
which is crazy. Wow, an Ultramarine saying no to honors.
Yeah, like it must have been real bad in there. Also, I cannot imagine how awful it must have been to be a human on a world anywhere near the Ghoul Stars. Like even before the Cicatrix Maledictum does its funky little cracking, it was probably shitty to be out there, but once that thing cracks open, it's like, oh, great. We are in the farthest reaches of space. We are in the dark space. There is a maw of warp right next to us. This sucks. This is, that is a bad roll of the dice.
I mean, it's just generally one of those situations where the less you know about it and the more kind of careful they go with it, the more fun it becomes. Yeah, a neato like kind of aspect to it as well is that was it the Death Spectres, or was it Shai? Which group was the ones that fought the Tyranids? Oh, I think it was Orask that got attacked. Yeah. Because the main thing about Orask and the frontier world section of Orask, because this is the way I mentioned before, it's like the Sentinel world kind of blocks out a large portion of the Ghoul Stars.
Yeah.
But The weird thing was that they got attacked by Tyranids. However, the Tyranids had come through the Ghoul Stars to get to this area because it was one of the tendrils, one of the hive fleets, right?
Right.
And when they arrived, the Tyranids were completely screwed up. They were disoriented, twisted, like seemed almost like insane. Completely fucked up. Like the Tyranids had no proper strategy. It's like the hive mind itself was just was having its own mental problems.
Oh, that's not good.
And it's like, okay.
So the Ghoul Stars even affects the Tyranids.
That's kind of the question is like, okay, well, the Tyranids made their way through the Ghoul Stars, and the Tyranids left the Ghoul Stars with PTSD. Like, what does that mean, you know?
Nothing good for anybody.
And it's like why? Why did that happen?
Yeah, it is kind of cool that there's just this mysterious madness zone in 40K that like nobody knows about. The Nova Marines won't talk about it. Even the Tyranids are not immune to it. I wonder what would happen if the Orcs went through it.
I mean, they'd
go through it.
They'd have a crumpin' good time.
Maybe. Or maybe it would just be a big boring zone for them.
Or true. It's kind of tough to determine because on one hand, there's a little bit of like, oh, who knows what could be in here? But there's also what are the craziest things we know of? So far. Like what are the most wild possibilities of things that can affect an entire area of space?
I mean, I would assume it's some crazy chaos nonsense, some crazy warp shenanigans. Like
there's some crazy. There's that. There's Xenos races that are weird.
Unknown Xenos race, sure.
Remnants of some Catan.
Oh, sure. Like a yeah. Some old ones nonsense.
It is called the Ghoul Stars, after all.
I was going to ask, how did it get its name? How did it get that? Because it was called the Ghoul Stars before the Eye of Terror opened, right? So how did it get that name?
I have no idea. It's just the Ghoul Stars.
It's just the Ghoul Stars. Okay.
It's just the Ghoul Stars.
It's such a cool sounding name that I was like, surely there's got to be like some cool little story about how it came to be the Ghoul Stars. You know?
Shy says she doesn't believe it is warp related. I feel like there's a little bit of warp just because the Demon's Maw is so close to it.
Yeah,
but like I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't say it has like the weirdness that happened in our last episode where you fly into the Eye of Terror and you see the giant obese Slaneshi man demon world, right?
Yeah,
like there's always like a little bit of a weirdness. The warp can kind of like inflict. But I think it's kind of neat that like maybe the planets themselves can be weird alien species. Like what about like an alien race that just decided to, I don't know, it became alive in circumstances that just don't make any sense, like a nebula.
That would be weird. Yeah, it also seems like it would be the perfect place if you were gonna do like a horror series or a horror game or something horror related in 40K, putting someone right smack dab in the middle of the Ghoul Stars would be a great place for it, because there's just, who knows? You could be anything, and you're stuck in the Ghoul Stars somehow, and
there's that.
You could do whatever you wanted.
There's also, as Shai put, the Nova Marines saying things called Unmaking What Cannot Die and Starspawn Plague are references to Cthulhu, which could either be... It could be one or two things. It could either be, ooh, this could be a fun thing of like a warp entity that's not the Chaos God that's being weird, or it could be GW just kind of being cheeky.
Could be.
Or it could also, it could genuinely be like, I mean, it's not unheard of to have like a crazy psychos. I mean, the Harud, like a just time.
True.
God knows what it could be.
Yeah, it could just be weird Xenos that they haven't fleshed out.
One interesting part, and the part that's often the most pointed out when it comes to the Ghoul Stars, is the tomb world of Draak.
There's a tomb world in there.
So you should know this very well, because this is actually not much of something I can teach you about, because we know too much about this already. The ancient Bone Kingdom tomb world of Draak is the ancient Necron kingdom of the flayed ones. Which has the Necron overlord known as Val Ghul. But if you may remember, our whole situation in the Twice Dead King books, spoiler alert for those, is that we end the second book on Draak, and Ultix ends up becoming the Flayed One King.
Oh, I did not realize. And that's all within the Ghoul Stars?
Do you remember when they were like going in that? What was the name of the weird wind that they would like travel through?
Oh, yeah, it was like the
ghost wind. I remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was something like the death wind or the zombie wind or the ghost wind. Sure.
The idea of this area is that but before Twice Dead King, this was Val Ghul, Necron Overlord, who apparently has kept his mind away from the maddening delusions of the Flayed Ones and leads the Flayed Ones into various raids to feast upon living things and then return back to the world of Draak, the Bone Kingdom. Mm-hmm. But now we know that in a fun twist is that in Twice Dead King Reign, whether due to the ghost wind or however the reasoning was, they ended up on Draak, which was totally empty.
Yes,
and then Ultix's dynasty, in fact, had the Landagor curse. The idea that the only Catan to ever truly die cursed the Necrons with the Flare virus, which was put together in the book as much more of a panic attack.
Yeah, the whole I have no mouth but I must scream.
Mm-hmm.
And then so to cover for that, you just like, well, let's get some skin. Let's put on the skin. Yeah.
And so I think the ghost wind, the idea of that concept was that was the general creation of Draak and Val Ghul. It was like almost a time paradox. Mm-hmm. Where, they know of Val Ghul, they know of the Flayed One Bone King, but when they get there, no one's there, and it turns out that to become a good leader, Ultix takes up the mantle of Val Ghul and his people, with their disease. So it's pretty fascinating. But they're in the Ghoul Stars, and so
they are. Yep.
Like Shai says here, there is the planet of Sandrin, which would constantly be raided by the Flayed One Necrons to, steal them away, kill the population.
Sure.
But eventually they just decided to go whole hog.
Man, it sure does suck to be in the Ghoul Stars. If whatever's in the Ghoul Stars doesn't get you, oh, by the way, the Flayed Ones are here raiding planets looking for skin too. Man, you don't want to be in the Ghoul Stars. You do not want to be here. Get out.
Get out. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah, you don't want to be here.
And then the Death Spectres, because as we've discussed before, don't much care for the actual planet, and they care a lot more about the human life to repopulate their species or their chapter. So they were like, yo, dude, wouldn't it be cool if we saved all the people we needed for more aspirants and then just left the planet to die?
Oh, yeah, hooray. Wow, we're such good space marines. Yay. Oh, man, this sucks.
Actually, I'm sorry. I said that incorrectly. Yeah, they didn't leave it to die. They blew it up. My bad.
Of course. Of course they did. So literally they took every person that was capable of breeding a new aspirant. I'm sorry to use the breeding word again. And then they just exterminated the planet and just killed everybody else because LOL, why not?
Why let the Flayed Ones have a new spot?
Oh, that sucks. I guess that's kind of like the same mentality of like, well, sorry guys, you're in the path of the Tyranid swarm and we want to starve the Tyranids, so bye-bye.
I mean, well, not even that really. These are the Flayed Ones. I'm pretty sure they just didn't want to deal with it.
Oh, so it's even worse. All right. Okay, cool. So what we've learned today is the Ghoul Star sucks on just every level possible, and if it's not the Flayed Ones, it's whatever crazy, maybe Chaos, maybe Cthulhu, maybe Catan weirdness.
I don't even think it's maybe. I don't even think it's maybe. I think it's all.
All the above. Great.
DK, Shy has a story she would like you to read.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Let me hear it. It is called Desperation. Desperation was a world in the Katesh system on border of the Ghoul Stars in the frontiers of Imperial space, a stronghold of the Night Lords during the Horus Heresy until its destruction in 011.M31. During that battle, Ashen Claws renounced Imperium, told Ultramarines to beat it and leave, allowing Night Lords to take over a major hive city. Night Lords started celebrating, but Ultramarines in orbit just shrugged and exterminated the Night Lords on the ground, who kind of forgot about the whole orbital bombardment thing and consequently all died. That story sucks. After the heresy, Desperation was repopulated. In 272.M39, Desperation got invaded by demons, but was saved by the Dark Eldar homunculi coven known as the Children of Bone. The Children of Bone devastated the planet and subjected its populace to unspeakable horrors. Years later, when Imperial ships entered its orbit, it found the populace had become heretical beyond salvation, worshipping the Children of Bone over the Emperor. When the Imperium attempted to reestablish its rule on the world, they were beaten back by tenacious PDF, more fearful of the Dark Eldar's wrath than that of the Imperium. Once again, Imperial forces in orbit shrugged and bombed the entire planet into dust. Yum. Love that. Love that.
Gotta love the Imperium.
Oh, yeah, they're so great. They're just so cool. Holy.
Children of Bone is pretty fun. There's been a lot of bone motifs going on in the Ghoul Stars, gotta be honest.
Yeah, there is. A lot of undead, a lot of zombie motifs, a lot of, the Raven Guard chapter where you gotta die to get revived and die again. And you got the bone, Children of the Bone Coven here. There is a lot of bone reference.
There's a lot of bone
undead
reference.
Skeleton stuff, yeah.
A lot of bone reference, and not just a lot of bone, but like a lot of bone, a lot of death, a lot of all the kind of stuff that's just generally like, hey, this sucks and is normally a place you don't want to be in. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that we don't get a few more stories in the Ghoul Stars overall, but at the same time, I feel like, much like with the Alpha Legion, if you spend too much time explaining it, you lose a little bit of that enjoyment.
Yeah,
you lose a little bit of that flavor.
Yeah, the not knowing is kind of the mystique and the intrigue and what makes it so interesting. It's like the boogeyman. Like, the monster you can't see is the worst one, because then your imagination just goes crazy and does all the work for you.
I mean, like rogue traders and stuff might sometimes go check out that area and naturally not have a very good time.
Yeah, and never come back.
Right. I have all kinds of issues in that way. But, there are things to gather, and rogue traders are that way. You know what I find really funny?
What's that?
Okay. You know what I watched recently?
What did you watch?
I watched the SpongeBob movie.
Of course you did. I should have been able to pick that one immediately. How in the hell are you going to somehow connect the SpongeBob movie to the Ghoul Stars?
All right. You're getting a C in acting.
I am not acting, my friend. I am genuinely a little befuddled right now, but
well,
go off,
you
King.
would know if you watch the SpongeBob movie.
I will not.
I got a feeling of what the answer's gonna be.
Okay.
In the SpongeBob movie, there's the whole point of the movie is that they have to go get Poseidon's crown that has been taken away to Shell City, the crazy spooky place guarded by a killer Cyclops. And the whole point is it's like Patrick and SpongeBob on an adventure to go do all those kinds of things. But in particular, once they go past the county line, it's like all kinds of crazy horrors. And it's like there's like a giant pub that they go to that's like full of nothing but like gangsters and stuff. And then after that is a huge trench filled with all of the horrifying creatures of the deep.
Oh,
that
okay.
like anglerfish style things, and like all of the organisms on the bottom of the ocean. And it's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool, and it's very unexplored. And I don't know if they've explored it much in the future SpongeBob's. Not that I would watch them because I don't much care for the future SpongeBob, but it was kind of neat, and they left a lot to be interpreted. And it's a fun concept, and the idea that maybe, who knows, maybe our Owlcat Games makers might throw a little DLC expedition into the Ghoul Stars, some options.
Would be cool. That would be cool. So you're suggesting that the Ghoul Stars is comparable to Shell City?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure I'm on the same page here. Just making sure we all understand the references that are being made. That's all. Not judging at all, ever. Wouldn't do that. Just making sure that I get what you're tossing my way.
Mad at you.
I don't understand. What are you mad at? I'm just confirming the information that I have heard today.
Very upset with you. Anywho, Ghoul Stars. They're a fun little side bit. It's the cool Bermuda Triangle bits of 40K. It's there's a lot of fun to it all. It's not like the craziest thing out there in terms. Well, it is the craziest stuff out there, but like there's not a lot known. But it's a fun thing to like, hey, if you want to write a horror novel, you have some fan fiction you want to go with, throw them out there.
It definitely seems like it is just a treasure trove of untapped potential.
Shy, what is that?
By wireless device, look inside flesh. Yeah, what?
I mean that's isn't that not what just a servitor is?
Sure. But yeah, it seems like it's just like a treasure trove of just like, you can do anything you want with the Ghoul Stars. It seems like whatever you want to do, you can do it in there. It would be the perfect place to write like any number of Black Library books.
It could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I could add a lot, and so get on that, random fan fiction writers.
And GW, do something with it, GW.
Do anything with it.
Yeah, this is cool idea number 6,955 that you refuse to do anything with.
Hell yes. Well, yeah, no, that's true. At least, but keep it neat. Keep it different.
Yeah. Don't just do it to do it. Let's put some chutzpah in it.
We need more Ultramarines fighting Chaos books, DK. Okay. I will give them a little bit of credit. In the last 4 years, I feel like there's been fewer just like generic Space Marine fighting people books. I think there's been a bit more variety. And
what's the trilogy that Uriel Ventress is in? Is it just literally like the Ultramarine trilogy or something? Apparently that's very good, and
he's the Ultramarines omnibus.
Yeah, he struggles, so they're not the perfect little blueberries they once were. So I'm okay.
It's nice to see someone struggle.
Yeah, especially when they've been such perfect poster boys forever.
Me when I'm a Drukhari Coven.
It's nice to see people suffer.
All right. Well, a little bit of Ghoul Stars. We'll probably get onto a bit more of a more tangible shenanigan style thing heading up next time. A little bit more, some more giggles. A little bit more. This is a Curioth episode. Never mind. I don't got to worry about it.
Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about anything. Also,
let's go.
By the time we see you next, happy birthday, Bricky.
Oh, that's stupid.
There you go.
It's my
what
last
do you mean
year
that's stupid?
It's my last year of my 20s. I got 1 year left before I turn and crumble to dust.
Me genuinely wishing you a happy birthday because we won't see you again until the next time when your birthday's past. What? Okay, next time I won't be nice.
That's you.
All right,
good.
Fine.
Oh,
congratulations.
Okay.
Happy 1 year closer to death, Bricky.
So the normal?